It's actually mind-blowing how a feeling can affect your body so intensely. Disclaimer, it's gonna get real depressing in here. First of all, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But let's not even talk about that right now because I'm gonna do my hair while I make this video. This is a topic I'm actually really comfortable speaking on because of the fact that I've lived with anxiety for so many years. In the beginning, not a lot of people knew, only the people closest to me and obviously my family because it was just too obvious. I was in the hospital every other day. I remember my worst panic attack ever like it was yesterday. I was with my dad and we had ordered Domino's, so I went to the store to pick it up. And while I'm in the store, like that was my very first time disassociating, and I'm a hypochondriac. Like majority, I would say 95% of my anxiety comes from like not wanting to like be sick or like death and those type of things. So my first time disassociating, I was 1000% convinced I was having a stroke. Because if you've disassociated before, then you know it's really like an out-of-body experience. I don't know if it's just the camera or if my forehead is really this big, but this is concerning. Anyways, so I remember going to the store and waiting for the pizza, and as I'm like in there, like I just didn't feel real. I didn't feel like anything around me was real. Like I felt like my soul left my body. Like that was my very first time feeling that. I ran out, did not get the pizza, like just booked it out looking stupid. Got in the car and told my dad I'm having a stroke drive. Like I don't feel good, like we have to go. Which is like so crazy, like looking back at it, like girl, you were not having a stroke. That panic attack actually sent my vitals overboard. Like I remember I ran into the emergency room when my dad got there and the nurses started coming out. They rushed me into the little thing to check my vitals, and when they checked it, they brought like 7 nurses in the room and like took me out of there. Like they was panicking. They probably thought something was actually wrong with me. And the fact that all of that was simply because of an emotion, because there's nothing wrong with me, thank God, other than the anxiety disorder. And it's just mind-blowing to me how that single emotion of like just anxiety, being scared, fear, put me in like such a bad state, even physically. Like I would get chest pains. I still get them till this day. Random foggy vision. There's times where I feel like I'm gonna faint. I struggled to shower. I used to shower before I even started being on my dick, but I used to struggle to shower because I was genuinely scared to like close my eyes. I was scared of my bed. I had to spend like over a month basically living at my aunt's house because I was scared of my own bed. I was scared of my own house. And I grew up in a Christian family. I'm literally a pastor's daughter. So on top of having all this anxiety, people always tried to hate me with the religious aspect. When I developed an anxiety disorder, what people continued to tell me was, you don't have enough faith, you're not praying enough, it's a punishment from God. Girl, what? Genuinely, what? They would say it's like demons were attacking me. What? Slowly but surely I've been healing from that though, because it's definitely not God, it's just people. It's always just people. People do not take it serious, and that's like, I would say that's the hardest part of having anxiety. As much as people will hear you out, it's very rare to come across someone that genuinely understands what you're going through and doesn't think you're an idiot. It's genuinely really hard for somebody to understand how you could be scared and nothing's happening to you. And it's like, doctors would tell me, like I was consistently in the hospital, bro, consistently, and they would tell me like, yo, nothing's wrong with you, we ran a bunch of tests, like you're completely okay. And then I would go home and I would still feel these things. So I would think like it's like an undetected disease, or it's like something crazy, because what people don't get is that the same way it's hard for you to understand how I can be panicking for no reason, it's hard for me. I'm a logical person just like you know what I mean? And that's another thing that makes beating that initial anxiety stage so difficult. It's like so hard to tell yourself like, bro, you're okay, when I don't feel okay. The doctor will be like, you're okay. My therapist, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. But I don't feel okay, so I'm not like convinced. How you gonna tell me I'm okay and I'm waking up on my sleep, my heartbeat fast as shit? That's not okay, you know what I mean? But the reality is, you are okay. It just takes time to adapt. I really used to think my life was over, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. I hit a point where I was okay with dying. The worst part of it lasted like around 4 months. Within those 4 months, I went through stages. The first stage was like, oh shit, I'm dying. Like when I first had my very first panic attack, I genuinely thought I was dying. Because obviously I didn't know how an anxiety disorder worked. I didn't know why I would develop one, etc. And then the panic attack started to get worse. This is another funny thing about anxiety. When you panic, that panic feeling makes you panic more. Because it's like your mind believes it's in danger, and that's why you're panicking, even though you're not in danger. It's just, that's the whole thing of the anxiety disorder. And when you validate that feeling, because in the beginning you don't know that it's not real, you make yourself panic more. Because now on top of the fact that my body's just panicking on its own, I'm telling my brain like, bro, something's definitely happening, like there's no way we're okay. That makes you panic extra. So over time, your panic attacks worsen. So they started getting worse and worse and worse, and it got to the point where I couldn't sleep, I could barely eat. Like, there's not a singular thing I could do in peace. Not one thing. Like, I'm not a sentimental person, and I would cry, like sob in front of my family, like, and that's not some shit I'd be out here doing. So I hit rock bottom, and like towards the end, I just stopped caring. Like, I was like, whatever, bro. Like, at this point, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Like, I'm done feeling bad. I'm done this, I'm done that. And I would go to sleep genuinely believing I wasn't gonna wake up the following day, and I would just not care. I started looking up YouTube videos to hear other people's experience with anxiety, and it hits everyone different. I read about this guy that used to get these crazy migraines that made him fully convinced that he was having a stroke. Like, these horrible migraines, like the way he described it was insane. And I'm like, yo, like, oh my god, like knowing that you're not the only one feels amazing. Which is actually why I'm making this video. If somebody out there has an anxiety disorder, if you're beginning it, it does get better. I've had it for like 3 years now. It doesn't go away. I'm not gonna lie to you like everybody else, like, no, it goes away eventually. It never goes away. You just learn how to cope with it. Literally this week, I've had like, what, 10 panic attacks? But they don't get to that point where I feel like I gotta call the paramedics, or I genuinely believe I'm gonna die. It doesn't get to that point because I already know what to expect. I know how to control them. I just be like, all right, I'm having a panic attack. I do something that's gonna take my mind off it. I sit down, I inhale, exhale slowly. I used to have medications for it at first, but they don't always work, I will say, because due to the fact that it's a disorder like of your mind, you kind of control it, which is another thing I've learned over time. The pill just helps your body be like in a calm state, but if you're telling your mind still while your body's in that calm state, yo, we're gonna die, or we're not okay, or you start overthinking, or you get a slight symptom like a little chest pain or whatever, and you just let that like get to you, the pills won't work, because now that calming state your body was just in, it's back into fight or flight. The reality is, anxiety is just a state of like survival mode. That's how you have to view it every time to help yourself like calm down, to think of it logically. Every time you're having a panic attack, your body's just trying to save you. So nothing's really wrong with you. Your body's just trying to save you from nothing. Everybody's different, but I have a few coping mechanisms that I've developed like along the way. Some of them are a little weird. We're gonna start with the weirdest one in my opinion. I tap my foot a lot. Like, even like in bed, like I'll tap my foot. That symptom that I have with my anxiety is that I start to hear or literally feel my own heartbeat, and that definitely is not a good feeling. So I tap my foot. And it's like tapping your foot kind of distracts you from that feeling. It's like your body can't focus on so many things at once. I don't know what it is, but when I tap my foot, like let's say I'm starting to hear my own heartbeat and I tap my foot, I stop hearing it, or I stop feeling it. Any movement can distract you from that specific feeling. Everybody says this about exercise, but it does help. Like, it doesn't help in the moment. Like, if you're having a panic attack and you just start doing jumping jacks, it's not gonna do much. But in the long run, if you incorporate some sort of exercise within your like routine, you'll find yourself getting anxious slightly less, which I have to work on because I have not been working out lately, and that's probably what's causing the extra panic attacks. Don't Google shit. Do not Google shit, especially if you're a hypochondriac. Google's lying to you. Every time I googled how I felt, I was having a stroke, a fucking heart attack, starting Alzheimer's. Like, bitch, what the fuck? I have a few songs that got me through panic attacks or like anxious moments in general. Like, I remember I would go to sleep to these songs and that's how I would feel okay. The main one is You're Somebody Else by Flora Cash. It's so many times I genuinely felt like rock bottom and that song pulled me out. Like, Vienna by Billy Joel is literally my favorite song. Well, one of my favorite songs. As of recently, I've been listening to like people playing the guitar. I saw somebody play Wildflower and Birds of a Feather on their guitar, and it hit. Sitting outside alone will help you. Just sitting outside. Keeping yourself busy is essential. Having a life is really, really important. If you don't have a life, you're gonna panic all day. I'm gonna just be honest. Find something to like focus your energy on. I've recently started like drawing and painting and stuff. Meeting people that also have anxiety, or like reading about them. I've mentioned that before. Just knowing that you're not alone is like the best feeling ever. My closest friend actually has the same anxiety disorder I have, and I've gotten through a lot with her because I just like tell her like, yo, like I'm having a panic attack right exactly now, or like vice versa, and we get each other because we have the same fucking issue. Definitely don't rely on like a partner to feel better. I feel like a lot of people develop anxiety, and if you have a boyfriend at the moment, you feel like he's the key to it, like, oh, if he just hugs you, you're fine, or like this and that. But then when y'all argue, your anxiety will get worse. Then when y'all break up, your anxiety will get worse. Do not let your anxiety control you. That's like huge. Whatever it is that's making you unreasonably scared, like let's say you're someone with social anxiety and you get anxious like around people, you cannot just stay home every day to avoid that, because then you're validating your mind. If you have social anxiety, your mind thinks it's in trouble when you're around people. Your mind views that as like, we don't like this. And when you are in a social event and your mind starts doing the trigger shit, like, yo, remember, we don't like this. If you're like, oh hell no, and you walk out and you do that every time, your mind's getting points. It's like, oh, we actually do not like that. Next time he goes to a fucking social event, let's do the same thing. This is how we're gonna help him. Because your mind is simply trying to help you. Your mind is not against you. Your mind is not your mind without you. You have to validate your feelings and like everything. So you have to speak to yourself like, yo, you're being stupid. You know, like I said, I'm a hypochondriac, so whenever my mind tries to tell me like, bro, you're having a heart attack right exactly now, I be like, bro, like there's no way we're having a heart attack, bro. Relax. And I ignore it. Even if I feel like shit, I ignore it. Let's say I was watching TV, I'm gonna keep watching TV. I'm not gonna pull my phone out and start Googling shit. No, I'm gonna be like, I'm not having a heart attack. I'm not. I'm healthy, but obviously make sure you keep up with like your doctor visits or whatever. But the reality is, 9 out of 10 times there's nothing wrong with you. Especially if you've already gotten checked, nothing's wrong with you. Yo, I just disassociated. Like, oh, it's like, wow, we're really on brand today. I'm like filming, I'm looking at the camera, and it's like the lines on my fingers became so visible to me, and now I don't feel like I'm a real person. Whatever. See how I'm fighting through it? But if I sat here and was like, oh my god, then it's gonna become what it's not. You have to stop your own panic attack before it becomes a panic attack. Don't let your anxiety make you hate yourself. I feel like that's another thing that happened to me. Like, I was getting so angry at myself. Like, bro, why are you panicking? It's like you start blaming yourself, but it's not your fault. Like I said, your mind is just trying to help you. You just have to help your brain. And it tells you like, yo, bro, you're in danger. You gotta tell it back, bro, no, we're not. And trust me, I know it's easier said than done. I know that firsthand, but I promise you, if you practice, you will achieve it. Like, eventually you're gonna live a more stabilized life. But even when I have a big panic attack, it's not that bad, because like I don't genuinely believe that I'm dying anymore. I just feel really anxious, you know? But it's never the, no, I'm gonna die, let's say I call the fucking police. And that's it. Damn, I wanted to finish my hair before like ending the video, but that's too much work. Fuck yeah.